Alright, this is David Hemmings. He was a famous African American artist during the 1970s
Ooh, look
and
at
the
that
1980s.
transition.
He was born in 1943, the youngest of 10 children in his entire family, being raised by a single mother. Due to this, he had to struggle, like the family was struggling financially because of that. They managed to get by, which is surprising. David wasn't very academically gifted, not in the local school. Instead, this is some of his artworks, but this is his most favorite work.
Which one is your favorite, and why did you choose that?
I like this one, it's the Wizard Culture. It's unique and it's like, it fits the role.
This is Chris O'Philly. He uses artwork to examine the Black experience, and he received the Turner Prize for his work. I would describe his work as like sometimes slightly eerie but very interesting paintings with a lot of backstory to them. I think that an artwork by this artist is called Celestial. It has a person's face in it, but their face is hidden by a little bit.
How would this connect with the Harlem Renaissance?
Because his artwork is like based off of the Black experience, and the Harlem Renaissance was like Black culture.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Rita. Good job.
The artist I chose for this is Kara Walker. I decided to choose this artist because her art style is unique and stand out to me, and she focuses mainly on silhouette art, which I found was interesting. Some interesting facts about her is not much is actually fully known about her personal life, but she received the MacArthur Fellowship Award when she was 28, becoming the youngest to receive it. And she is also a filmmaker, which I found very interesting that she's both an artist and a filmmaker. And like her work is very beautiful and expressed in a unique way, like while being a gateway for like certain slightly dark topics, but also like of history and whatnot, like racism, gender inequality, that stuff. There's a piece she made of a silhouette art of a woman running away, and it says that apparently her like whole thought process while making it was actually that like she's running away from like gender inequality and racism and whatnot. I think the artist is trying to show like a deeper meaning of like history and whatnot through her work and what occurred back then by using silhouettes. And I love how she heard the deeper meaning of her work in the piece itself, which I found very interesting. And that's it.
Okay, thank you so much. Were you able to make a connection of her artwork and things we learned about the Harlem Renaissance?
I sort of, because in some way I realized that like a lot of her artwork include struggles, and even though the Harlem Renaissance was like a great time for music and whatnot, it did also harbor some struggles for these Black artists.
Okay, great. Thank you, Vivian.
Okay, so I chose Kara Walker, and the reason I chose her was because I really enjoyed his silhouette. And I would say her artwork is very fascinating and interesting because all the silhouettes are telling or doing something that represents either history.
Yinka Shonaber is an artist from London who uses a technique called batik to dye cloths and create kind of like figures that capture moments and emotion. It's where two women are shooting each other, so their heads are gone and they're both dead.
Okay. Why did you pick this piece? What speaks to you about this piece?
Kind of reminds me of like social embarrassment, and how like the economy is in the USA.
How is her work going to make you a better artist?
I said, moving forward, I want to captivate my audience using emotions.
All right, very nice, Elias.
So the artist I chose is Alex Gardner, and he makes surrealism and figurative art. And I chose this artist because his art like includes intricate and captivating designs, which really makes it like pleasing to look at. His art is mysterious and displays ideas of curiosity, and overall the faceless and luminous figures with complicated designs in the background make it really interesting. His art is set to represent the confusing complications of life, so I feel like he's trying to express these thoughts about life through his art. And yeah, it's really abstract and interesting. It's that like he doesn't really look at other artists for inspiration and like kind of looks at what is in front of him and just goes based off of that.
Okay, well, the Harlem Renaissance doesn't necessarily have to do with inspiration, but more like why is it an important art movement for the Black experience?
I think it's an important art movement because it like really highlight, like it happened at a time where these people were struggling and they used art like as a form of escapism, and like they were able to really express their creativity through that.
So is his artwork a form of escapism?
Yeah, kind of.
What are the complicated subject matters that he's trying to deal with?
Like basically just talks about life and how like it's like just life in general.
Okay, thank you, Fabia.
The artist I chose is Faith Ringgold. They're an African American painter who made a bunch of paintings like this. You can kind of see them in that photo right there. I chose this person because I went to the National Museum of Art this weekend and I actually saw some of their work, and so I figured it would be interesting to do a presentation on it. She is 92 years old. She's an award-winning author, and she has worked in many styles from painting, sculpture, weaving. She's worked in a lot of styles. Her main style is this painting that's a combination of like pop art and abstract expressionism, and she did a lot of paintings in that style. One of her most famous pieces is this. This is number 18 in her American flag collection. The flag is bleeding. You can see there's 3 people here, and they're kind of like imprisoned by the American flag. And so this is kind of like the general theme of a lot of her work, which is just like how American citizens are like abused and mistreated by America. And that's just like the general theme for a lot of her work. And I think the color options in a lot of her pieces are very interesting. Like in this painting specifically, like the color options she used for the contrast between the white and red stripes, and then like the people, I thought that was very interesting. So yeah, that's it.
Why is the Black guy holding a knife?
Well, if you look right here, he has like a stab wound that he's covering. And of course this is open to interpretation, but it's almost, it seems like, I guess, the fact that he's like imprisoned here in American society hurt him, and then they blamed him for it, and that's just kind of how I see it. So it's open to interpretation, but there are a lot of different ways to interpret it.
Okay, great job, Miles.
My artist is Robin Brooks. Yes, I chose this artist because her paintings are cartoonists, just like my comics. She's a Jamaican artist. She's good at fun. She can draw cartoonists, comics. She is a cartoonist artist, and this artist would draw comics that saves people from the bad guy.
Okay, so the artist I chose is Titus Kafar. I chose his art because it was full of meaning. But they look like they're missing something, or like are trying to show more. He was born in 1976 in Michigan. His art is designed to protest against racism, and now all of his art is presented over like 1,000 museums all over the world. The biggest fact that stuck out to me is that his act transformed history and was a big part in social engagement. The way I would describe his work is meaningful or tells a story. This piece of art shows meaning of those who suffer and are covered up in early times, especially by like people even in the government. Trying to create a protest against those who are racially discriminated against. This art will inspire me to put meaning into my work and try to put more detail into a story.
Okay.